Hi DV Asia, I'm Matt Sanford, I'm the Lightworks product manager here at NAB. Today we're going to be taking you through Lightworks on the Mac. It's just been announced that it's released. We're going to be releasing the public beta on the 11th of June. I'm going to take you through some of the latest features of the application. Today we're going to be showing you drag and drop from Flow, which is another one of our products under the EditShare umbrella. We're going to be showing you the new content browser. We'll be showing it all running on a Mac. We're going to be showing you some of the new features that are coming in version 12. Okay, so I'm going to create a new project here. I'm going to call this NAB 2014. Create a new project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our Flow browse client here. You can see here with our media spaces, I've got our media clips here. And what I'm going to do in Flow browser, I'm just going to create, load our clips in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new sequence in here. And I'm going to call that Matt's sequence. If I could type, that would be easy. And what I'm going to do now is just going to load that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load some clips into Flow here. Very simply, just going to very quickly and very easily, just going to mark an in and out point each of these clips here. You can see what I'm actually doing here is creating a very crude sequence in Flow here. So in and out points. So what I've actually done is I've created a sequence from start to finish here. I've got 4 clips in a sequence, and this is my sequence up here. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to take this sequence, I'm going to drag and drop this into the Lightworks interface. You can see that it's having a little think about that. I'm just going to minimize Flow now. And what I've actually got here is if I maximize this out here, I'm just going to close this down, is I've got the 4 clips that you saw me just manipulating in the Flow interface there, and I've got the sequence that I actually created as well. So this is a very first for Lightworks, is actually been able to integrate very nicely with the Flow applications. That previously we could drag and drop shots, now we can actually drag and drop sequences as well. And this is a really nice thing for Lightworks. So these 4 clips here, you can see, have come into what we now call the content browser. So this is a big change for Lightworks as well. Previously we just used to have bins. What we've got now is this content browser. So you can see on the left here, I've got filters down the left hand side, and then I've got bins underneath, which isn't populated at the moment. So regardless of whether I close this content browser or not, if I open it back up, you can see straight away I've got all my filters here. All my clips, you can see, if I click on clips, I can click on edits. So there's the sequence there, it's all automatically populated. If I click on everything, there's the clips and the edit. And there's the recent material that we've actually imported as well. So what I actually want to do now, is I actually want to create some bins. So I'm going to select my clips, click of a button now, I can actually create a bin, and I can actually give that a name. I'm going to call that Matthew. Here we are, there's my clips in a bin. And actually, there's my edit. What I'm going to do now is select that. I'm going to put that in a bin, and I'm going to say that's my sequence.
So you just selected it?
Yeah, that's right, and it's just gone into a bin. So
on the bin.
Managing your media in Lightworks now in version 12 has suddenly become a whole lot easier, whereas before you used to have to search for material, you used to have to then create a bin, drag and drop material through to one thing or another. It used to become quite clunky. With version 12, it suddenly becomes very easily. The content manager makes it an awful lot easier. So we've come a step further with it, which is again why the Mac version was delayed ever so slightly, is that we wanted to make sure that this content manager was in and working very nicely. Now what I can do from here as well is I can actually manage my filters. So for example, if I don't want to see half of these filters, or I want to see them when depending on how I want to work, so we give you the default filters, but if I don't want to see those, I can hide them. And what's really nice as well is I can actually create a new filter, and I can actually give that a name, and I can actually say, let's call that Matt's filter. And I can base this filter on any one of the search criteria that's actually available to me. So I can actually go through this and actually say, right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this based on, let's say, compression, for example. I'm going to say, look for DVC Pro, there's a case sensitive, 100. Create. There we go. It's actually done. So as I now bring everything in, everything that's going to come in that's DVC Pro 100 will go into that filter. So if I bring in a whole mix of codecs and I create filters based on all the codecs from DNX, DVC Pro, Red, ProRes, I can create filters all based on that. And Lightworks will manage it all for me based on the filters I've already created. So that's a really nice way and a powerful way of being able to manage the media. Again, what I can do here is managing the filter. So Matt's filter there, actually hide when empty. Yeah, I'll do that. There's nothing in it. I don't need to see it. So again, very fast way of being able to manage your media. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to this edit here. I'm going to open this back up. You can see this is the one we dragged and dropped from Flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes to this edit. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to lop out this first clip. So all I'm going to do is just mark and park the edit here, and I'm just going to delete this section up. So from the on-screen controls on the viewers here, which are new in the latest version of Lightworks in 11.5, which has just been released, I'm just going to remove that clip from the section there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to export this this edit here, and I'm going to do it as an AAF, and I'm going to do that as, what do I want to do that as? I'm going to do that as a Pro Tools 30 with no audio, and I'm going to do that to the desktop. And go. So that's all happening in the background while it's exporting the, it's also drawing the waveforms as well, so you can see what it's actually doing. It's actually opened up the background task list here. Everything's in the background, so it's actually drawing the waveforms for the audio of this edit here. So it's actually doing 2 audio waveforms, and you can see that the AAF that I've actually asked it to export is in the pending list as well. So I can carry on working while it's doing that. So you can see I can actually just move that across and carry on trimming to the edit if I wanted to, carry on managing my bins if I wanted to. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back to Flow, and I'm going to actually get prepared to, what we're going to do is once that AAF's finished, is I'm going to drag and drop that AAF back into Flow, and you can see that I can actually get my sequence back in again once we're ready here. Just go back and just see how far along we are. How are we doing here? Nearly there, excellent. There we are, we should have a nice AAF, there it is, excellent. There's our AAF, so I'm just going to take that across to there, open up Flow Browse, and I'm just going to drag and drop with the aid of the Command key. And what we get now is there's our sequence with the 3 clips, minus the one we removed. I'm just going to create a new folder for that. I'm just going to say that's Matt, or not, where's the keyboard? And done, there we are. So where do I put that? I put that in Matt's AAF, load up the sequence, there we are. That's not the one I did, it's the other one. Matt's AAF sequence, there we are, there's the 3 clips, exactly the same as we look at in our edit there. So we've managed to get a nice workflow going with one of our major products, which has been missing for quite some time. So as you can see, plus there again the main feature of version 12, which is our content manager. Very powerful way of managing media as well.
Can you just give us like a very quick tours of the software itself? Because many of our audience are not familiar with Lightworks.
Okay.
They're probably Avid users or Final Cut users. Maybe you can just give us a quick demo on, what does it do and what's so unique about Lightworks?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, one of the most unique things is obviously the USB console. It gives you a very nice tactile feel into the application, and it changes the way you edit. And that's the best way to be able to describe that, is that once you've used the Lightworks console, it changes the way you think and the way you work, basically. So we've imported these clips here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up one of these clips. And you can see one of the nice things about Lightworks is that actually just going to change the output format here. We're currently doing 1080p. I want to change that to 1080i. So that should play back a little bit nicer, which it is. So concept we have in Lightworks is mark and park. So you're asking about one of the differences of the application, is that as I'm playing this now, I can do a mark, which is my in point. Wherever I stop is my out point. So you can see here, I'm just going to whiz on a little bit more so you can actually see that wherever I stop, that's my out point. I don't have to mark it out. So already it saved me having to press another button to mark it out. I can do that in the application, but Lightworks is based around mark and park. So in, wherever you stop is your out, mark and park, that's your section, that's ready to go into an edit.
If you play back a bit and press stop again, and we will replace the old.
Correct. So wherever I move this, I'm just changing the output.
Oh.
And what's really nice as well is that actually if I left click and hold on here, I'm changing the input. So it's a very fast way of being able to work, and that's one thing that new users, when they come to the application, find very daunting. They say, why can't I mark an out point? Well, there's another way. There's the Lightworks way, which has been doing it for 25 years, and it's a lot faster and it's a lot easier to use. So now from here, I don't have an edit open, so you can see that down here I've got two little buttons which I can see either replace into an edit or insert into an edit. So whether I click either one of these, it's going to open up a sequence for me. And there's our clip on the timeline. So all I need to do now is double click another shot into the source viewer here, scrub through, find my endpoint again. Wherever I stop is my out point. And again, I'm going to insert that into my edit. And very quickly I'm starting to piece an edit together. And one of the really nice things about Lightworks is the trimming. So with the console, I would use the shuttle levers to be able to move the timeline marker. With the touch of a button, I'd unjoin a cut. So you can see what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to bring another clip into the timeline here, just so we can see 3 clips. So you can see this is a massive clip. I don't need all this clip here. So what I'm actually going to do, just left click and drag, and I'm just going to trim that down so we can see what's going on. So very quickly and very easily, if I wanted to, I can trim the out of a shot by left clicking and holding. I can trim the head of a shot, so by trimming to here I can do. If I wanted to, I can slip a shot, so I can change the in and the out. Now I'm changing the in and the out point of the shot. You can see I'm changing both at the same time. Or if I wanted to, I can actually slide a shot. So depending on where I click is what kind of trim I'm going to do. So I don't have to go into any particular mode. It's just a matter of where I click on the timeline. As long as I'm aware of what I'm doing, I'm going to be doing very complicated trims. And what's really nice, you can see there that as I click, it's doing an auto unjoin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn this off. So what I want to show you here is I want to do some quite simple trims. Join that back up. Again, I'm going to do that on the other side. So I'm going to do a J and an L cut very simply, very powerfully, just with where I click. So once you get your head around mark and part, and then you get your head around where you click and unjoin to do the trimming, trimming suddenly becomes a very powerful and very simple function in the application. It looks very complicated, but actually it's very simple. Once you get your head around what it is you want to trim, it's nice and easy done. What's really nice about it as well is that actually, if I trim this, you see I'm just going to trim the video here because I want to shorten down the sequence in the video. What it's actually giving me down here is a warning saying, hey pal, you're 1600 frames out of sync. Well, I only wanted to trim my video, I wasn't worried about the audio. So what I can do now is just unjoin the audio, go over to this red button here and say, Lightworks, please fix it all up for me. Touch of a button, everything's back in sync. I haven't got to worry. So it's tracking all those changes for me as well. So very fast, very powerful. And what's really nice as well is that all the effects in the application are all in real time as well. So I can go in, just move this over so you can see it. I can go in, all the effects are in real time, so they're all based on the GPU. So any one of these effects that I add, I can do so, and they'll all be done on the GPU. So I can add one of our presets here. I'm going to decrease the saturation because these look quite hot to me. So I'm going to decrease the saturation on this clip here. And you can see what it's done is it's added the clip in line there. So I quite like that. That's actually killed down some of the it's probably a little bit too much, but for the sake of this demo, it's okay. But what I actually want to do is I want to apply that to both these clips as well. And there's several ways I can do that. I can drag and drop the inline effect to both the clips. But actually what I want to do is I actually want to unfold this clip. And just like we did with trimming the clips on the timeline, is that actually I can trim the effect as well. So I can actually now just trim this over all the way to the end of the video, join it back up, and now I've added a very simple effect right the way across the timeline, all in real time again, so I can play that back. And you can see, very quick, very powerful, and very easy. You know, I've just joined that, trimming it becomes very simple. It's very easy to do. So once I've done all of that, the next thing I want to do is obviously be able to export it. So I just right click on my edit and I choose export, and I can choose any one of the plethora of formats that we have available to actually what I want to export to. So I can choose YouTube, for example, choose the format and leave an upload to YouTube for me if I fill in my account details and information as well.
What sort of title or text tools do you have?
Yeah, there's an inbuilt titler. It is a crude titling tool, but it does give you pretty much what you want. So we got inbuilt lower thirds, which are ones that we've built using our tool, for example. So you can actually add in very simple lower third titlers if you want, using our inbuilt titler. If you don't want to use those, you can actually go and build your own, which is using the titling effect. So you can use a roller or a crawl. And again, there's all sorts of different things you can do with these, from changing the face, the position, shadows, outline. all sorts of things. But we support all sorts of changes as well.